Today we're going to take a look at my Twitter account, and what we want to have a look at is getting your Twitter impressions over 100,000.
But before we do, I wanted to show you what is possible when someone is absolutely nailing it. And of course, one of the front runners across social media in today's environment and over the last couple of years is Gary Vaynerchuk. So Gary V is what he's well known for. He's written a couple of books. I'm currently listening to the audio book of Ask Gary V at the moment. It's like 13 hours of content. There's a lot of meaty content in there. He really is a one-of-a-kind entrepreneur and marketing legend. And he also wrote the book about social media, Jab, 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 Right Hook. There's quite a lot in regards to the social side of things in that particular one. I haven't read that one, but that's very well regarded as well. So what I want to go through is just have a look at moving your account to 100,000 impressions, hitting that milestone. But let's have a look quickly at what someone like Gary V can do. Now his account, 1.27 million followers. It's a huge following this guy has. He's from back in the wine days. He had a wine business that he built to, I think, over $60 million in annual turnover. He's really quite entrepreneurial and one of the front runners across so many different industries. His current business is a social media and digital marketing company that has, I think, 400 or 600 staff in it. So he's really growing that to something quite huge. I think he's in about the $100 million per annum turnover with his media company there as well. So pretty impressive stuff there. So one guy actually wrote into Gary on Twitter saying, Gary, on average, how many impressions do your tweets have? So let's have a look what he has to say.
On an average day, how many impressions do your tweets get?
Chase.
Oh, I was going to say.
Chase. Stick there, Steve. Chase. This man has done the work. Give him the credit. Give him the airtime. Steve? What is the answer?
So his 28-day average is 240,000 impressions per day, and that's 6.7 million over the last 28 days.
Okay, so as you can see, 6.7 million impressions over 28 days, but obviously he's got 1.27 million followers. What a successful account. He's getting so much like engagement and people going back to his site and actually purchasing things. Now, Gary's a really big believer in making sure you're actually turning it into a monetary value. It's not impressions just for the sake of impressions, depending on your particular strategy. So what I wanted to do is just go through a little bit of the analytics and growing your account and trying to push it over 100,000 impressions. So as you can see here, over the last 28 days, currently it's the 31st of May 2016. So the 28-day average, done 140 tweets, and there's 129,000 impressions, 3,500 profile visits, and mentions are up. So I've actually had a little bit of a focus on Twitter over the last couple of months, as we'll see in the statistics here. So as you can see, there's the May summary, about 133,000 tweet impressions. It's the last day of the month, so this is going to end off May just here. So if we scroll down, you'll notice the month before, in April, there was only 48,000 impressions. So I was tinkering around and doing a few things and took my eye off the ball a little bit in April, to be honest. Still 348 followers, which is not too bad. If we scroll down a little bit further, March, 104,000 impressions and 324 followers. Which isn't too bad, I guess. But you see my tweets, I'm not doing too many tweets, but still able to get over that 100,000 on a regular basis there. 1,952 profile visits and 458 followers in that particular month there. So as you can see, it's been building for a little bit, and I guess the number of followers really increased over the last 30 days. Been a little bit more proactive in trying to engage with people and get them on board and so on. So let's have a look at some of the statistics of the account. So if I go to tweets, you'll notice the consistency across the channel here, but it's not always like that. And this is where you delve into the analytics behind Twitter to really try and find what is driving those particular people. Because I was looking, I think it was February. Yeah, in February it was a little bit consistent, but very, very low. And then all of a sudden, a couple of tweets there managed to hit over or on or around the 10,000 impressions per day. And you see, I didn't do that many. It was only 6 tweets on that day, 5 tweets on that day, just the bottom figure, just down the bottom there. Whereas on that day there was 10 tweets, but still not as much engagement there. So as you can see, pretty consistent, and there's nothing outlandish in regards to the number of tweets per day. In fact, over the last couple of months, I usually average around 3 to 5 tweets per day, so I'm not hitting it very hard. As you can see, someone like Gary Vaynerchuk with 142,000 tweets is really tweeting quite actively. So it's interesting to note the difference between a monumentally successful account and one that's just plodding along there. So let's go back to the last 28 days. So what we want to do is really try and get in and delve into where the impressions are coming from. And I will get to the engagements in just a second, but as you'll notice with the tweets, we've got all the tweets here, and these are the most recent ones. So we tweet, I particularly tweet around content marketing and also stock market, investing, foreign exchange trading, but mainly around content marketing, digital media and digital marketing there. But then we can pop over to the top tweets to really see what is hitting home. And you notice some of the ones that I might be doing with some good impressions are a little bit stock market related, some business and marketing related as well. Some of the ones with images that you can't actually tell here, but you'd be able to click on it to find out which ones are image related. Images tend to grab a lot more attention and get retweeted a lot more there. So you can sort of scroll through and find out what your top tweets are, and then the tweets and replies to see where your big engagement levels are over the last period of time, over the last 28 days in particular for this one. So some of them 514, and as we scroll down, it's not numerical order, but you can see how that's tracking along there. So pretty consistent for the last 28 days, 4,600 impressions per day. Now remember, Gary Vee is getting 6.7 million impressions per month. It's really off the Richter scale there. Now, actually interesting, what I did note with his latest book, Ask Gary Vee, he does personally reply to everything. He doesn't have an automated robot or someone who actually answers on his behalf. It's interesting to note, one of the leaders, and how they do it. So in my engagements, you notice that sometimes my engagement levels are pretty average, or just sort of clicking around there. If we scroll down a little bit further, link clicks, only getting 2 link clicks per day. Oops. And you'll see that that's dropping off over the last, just towards the end of the month there, which is interesting to note. Retweets really peaked over that period, 15 retweets on that day. So we'd go back and try and find out what we retweeted or what we sent out on that day to get that engagement level. And it's been pretty steady and consistent along there. Likewise, with the likes, you'll notice that's pretty consistent with a few spikes. So we can sort of delve in and get a bit more information from those stats there. And some of the replies there, on average, around 2 replies per day. So nothing too exciting there. So that's a little bit of an overview. So ideally with a small account, you really want to try and aim for that 100,000 impressions. So if you can boost it to that, that's really a good little benchmark. At least you're sort of tracking along. But ultimately what you really want to do is get into your Google Analytics stats and try and pull a report to see where your referral traffic is coming from, and to see if Twitter really is one of the leading drivers that's actually pushing people back to your website. And as well, particularly if you've got some landing pages that you've got set up with some lead magnets that can then lead to some lead generation, that's really important as well. So anyway, a bit of an overview. Hopefully you're able to track along. I'd be interested to see how everyone else is going. Please don't think that I'm thinking mine is good. Mine is really quite average. I don't spend a whole heap of time on it, so do keep that in mind as you go through. I'm not trying to say that this is impressive. Gary Vee is very impressive. This is just giving you an overview to see what is happening and what's sort of working there.
Hopefully this video will shed some light on what sort of activity is needed to get to 100,000 impressions, and the part about Gary Vee inspires you to be awesome on social media. If you like this video, then please like it and subscribe to our channel, or click the videos on this page to get more ideas and strategies to help boost the authority of your business.